How willing are you to compromise? I get involved in a lot of debates online on the Israel-Palestine conflict, and people aren't willing to compromise. You have to compromise. You will not get peace unless you make compromises. And what's in a name? There is so much debate about the name. Every time I'm on an Israel-Palestine group or an article or a newspaper article that's been shared online, all the comments are saying, it's not called Israel, it's called Palestine. It's not called Palestine, it's called Israel. Who cares? Does it really matter what the name of the country is if you all have your human rights, if you're all treated as equals? I want to know what you mean when you say Palestine. I think it's fairly clear what people mean when they say Palestine. I know that the detractors will say, well, that's a word that was invented by the Romans 2,000 years ago, and the real name is the land of Israel. But I think we know what we mean when we refer to Palestine. We don't know what we mean when we refer to Israel, do we? What do you mean when you say Israel? Can you draw a line around it for me? Are Israel and Palestine just two different names for the same thing? Because if they are, then it doesn't really matter, does it? But if by Israel you mean all of the land that is in Israel and Gaza and East Jerusalem and the West Bank, if that's what you mean by Israel, then say so. Because a lot of people would like that to be what Israel is, but it isn't technically at the moment. But let's say it was. What if all of the West Bank, all of Gaza, all of East Jerusalem and the rest of it was all part of Israel? Would that be so bad? Well, it would be bad for you if you didn't want to extend full rights and citizenship to everyone living within the land. But an honest question for Palestinian people and Palestinian supporters. No, just Palestinian people, actually, because it's they who have to make this decision. What if you were given full rights, full citizenship? You could go back to the land that you were kicked out of, the town you or your parents or your grandparents were kicked out of. You could go back to Haifa and Jaffa and live as an equal alongside the newcomers. But you had to call it Israel. Would you settle for that? Would that be a bridge too far? Or could you settle with calling it a different name? I mean, what does it matter? Why does it matter what you call it? The founders of the State of Israel were nearly going to call it Palestine anyway. And some people say that Palestinians didn't start calling themselves Palestinians until the 1960s. But it doesn't matter what you call someone. It matters whether they have the full human rights that their neighbour has living in the same piece of land. That's what's important, isn't it?